Hope you're all doing well. It's Gita here. Thank you. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I'm here today. I'm planning this to be a really short video, but you know me, I ramble. But this is just going to be a quick little follow-up on Pop Tarot Alternatives 1 and 2, which is a hashtag I threw out there. Perhaps it would better serve as a series, as just an individual series on my channel for a number of reasons, which I'm going to run through today. But the intention of this video is to just give some clarity around the concept that I was trying to explore with this tag, and also the guidelines if you did want to participate in this tag, okay? And by no means, nobody has to participate in the tag. Just the fact that you guys have shown overwhelming interest and in my video, and you know, through your comments and likes and shares and stuff, that is absolutely enough for me. So like, by no means, I'm not gonna be mad if you feel that you can't participate in the tag, because I definitely don't participate in tags that I feel that I can't do. And that's kind of why I created my own tag this time, because I was like, oh, I want to do a tag that speaks to me in my collection. So that was the point of it. But first, I'm going to try and define what I mean by a pop tarot. And part of the reason why I wanted to welcome VR's replies is because it is a very subjective term. It is a watery term. It's by no means a definitive term. It was, as I said in that video, it was thrown out in a live chat, and I just thought that it really resonated with me personally, and how I did cultural studies and stuff like that back in university, so I do really enjoy cultural studies and examining, you know, these cultural artifacts and unpacking them and all that around pop culture, you know. And I think it's interesting in that live how they talked about it. They really kind of insinuated how these decks, some of these contemporary modern decks, are almost like pop culture, are almost symbolic of pop culture as it relates to tarot and the new evolution of tarot, because we are seeing a renaissance in tarot, are we not? I mean, I think the last time that there was like a big movement around tarot was what, in the 70s? I'm not too sure, you know. I'm not a veteran. I'm relatively new to tarot, in that it's something that I have been studying and collecting and exploring for the last 10 years. But I do have a background in journalism, and the way my brain works, I like a story, I like words, I like buzzwords, and that's why I got excited by this term, pop tarot. I was like, oh, this is a buzzword, this will make a great story, this is a great angle, you know? So that's kind of how I got excited about it and decided to throw out this tag. When I thought about it and when I thought about some of the decks that I have and how they compare or have satisfied my desire for some of these more popular tarots, right? Sorry this is rambly. Sorry my last video is rambly. When I make these videos, I don't journal or anything before. It's very much just like a diary. I'm very much just processing my thoughts, you know, in real time. So yeah, I don't always have the best words, and then later on in hindsight, maybe I'm able to realize where I could have chose better words, or explain myself better. But my understanding of a pop tarot, as it was discussed in this chat that I heard, is a pop tarot is a contemporary tarot. It's a deck that's come out maybe in the last 10 to 20 years that has helped to modernize tarot. Number one, it's helped to modernize and bring tarot into the mainstream. A pop tarot is a mainstream deck that is marketable and appealing to a lot of people, and perhaps people who maybe are not even into tarot, you know. A pop tarot would appeal to these people, you know. It's not a question of the art style. It's not about pop art. No, a pop tarot could be any art style. And I don't think that a pop tarot is necessarily for young people, that is necessarily marketed at young people, but I do think it's marketed at a modern generation of tarot readers or modern tarot readers. But this is just my understanding. So perhaps you will have your own conclusion or your own understanding or your own thoughts about what a pop terror is, which is why I would love to see VRs. Definition is modern pop culture transmitted via the mass media and aimed particularly at young people. You know, so I don't think that that definition necessarily applies to pop tarot, because I think pop tarot are just aimed at a younger or more modern generation of tarot readers, but not necessarily young people. But when I think of pop tarots and the examples that were sort of thrown out in this chat were, yeah, the immediate decks that I said that have really helped to modernize and make tarot mainstream, i.e., Lightseer's tarot, i.e., the Moonchild Tarot and the Star Child Tarot, those Danielle Noel decks, the Wild Unknown Tarot. I mean, so many people in this space have talked about how influential these decks have been to the modernization and the revival of tarot in the last 10, 20 years, you know? Um, and if you want to participate in this tag, I mentioned some decks that I felt were pop tarots that I could match with alternatives from my collection. But the decks I mentioned are by no means intended to be prompts for you, i.e., you can reference any pop tarot that you want. I didn't show an alternative for the Moonchild Tarot. You might have an alternative for the Moonchild Tarot. Another popular tarot that's come out in recent years, I would say Dust to Onyx. That was another really influential pop tarot. It changed the face of tarot, and it welcomed in a whole new generation and a whole new demographic of tarot readers, you know? That's a pop tarot. I didn't offer an alternative for that, but I think that's very much a pop tarot, you know? And the distinction is not, I think it can be comparable to like pop music versus indie music. When I was describing in my original video, or underground music, when I was describing in my original video, you know, I was saying that, you know, what makes pop music and pop tarots, what they have that in common is that they're very relatable, marketable, enjoyable by a lot of people. It's mainstream. It appeals to the masses. But I'm not insinuating that mass market decks are pop tarots and indie decks are pop tarot alternatives. No, I don't think that's the differentiation. It's more so the hype around a deck and the response it gets from the collective, and how much people engage with it and essentially hype it up to its state of popularity, you know? So, for example, like I said, Moonchild Tarot, Dust to Onyx Tarot, these are not mass market decks. These are independently published decks, but they stay in print because the demand is there. The demand is there for that mass appeal, right? There's a lot of people who want them, so they stay in print. It's not like a limited edition print run. In which case, that would make me think that a deck, that would make me question if a deck has a limited print run, despite how popular it is, that would make me question whether or not we could really consider it to be a pop tarot. And I'm thinking of the Spirit Keepers Tarot, because when I watched that original chat, and I'm really sorry, I don't know if I can find the link to that original chat. I'll see if I can. But when I watched that original chat, they did say, I remember, I think Zach said, he was like, yeah, Spirit Keepers Tarot would be considered a pop tarot. And I think that is a valid, um, observation, considering the Spirit Keeper Tarot has had multiple print runs. It's had multiple versions, so the demand for it has helped it to stay in print, and it has helped it to evolve as a name, as like a household name among tarot readers, right? The Spirit Keepers Tarot. Most people, a lot of people, particularly in the tarot collecting community, will know the Spirit Keepers Tarot. But I think that deck could be considered a little more. I think whether or not that deck is a pop tarot is up for debate, because, like I said, it is quite niche and it's limited print run. And I wonder how much of the wider tarot reading community really knows about that deck. You know what I mean? If you think about us here in this tarot tube community talking about decks and collecting decks versus the larger tarot community where people are just on the internet reading, giving readings. The popular, the decks that reach the masses are what are those decks that reach the masses? You know what I mean? Both communities. What decks are both communities using and engaging with? And I think if you have a deck that both communities, the niche insular tarot collecting community versus the larger community of tarot readers, I think if you have a deck that gains notoriety amongst both camps, then that will be a pop tarot. But that's just my understanding and interpretation of it, and it's obviously open to debate. It's open to debate, and it's a fluid term that's open to um, to opinion. And the thing is, when we talk about pop culture, and if pop tarot relates to pop culture or is aligned with pop culture in any way, then yeah, pop culture is very subjective to your generation, to your demographic, to your location, to all those things. So there's definitely no right or wrong answers. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and I'm just curious. I'm just curious what you guys think and what you would consider a pop tarot and what you would consider, you know, what decks are compared to those. To do this tag, there are no rules. You don't have to reference the decks I gave. You can name any pop tarot and show me a deck that is an alternative. And what I would suggest, if you do want to attempt this tag, maybe think about some of the decks that in your collection that are lesser known, less popular decks, underground, underrated decks that are similar in style or function to a more popular deck, to a deck that is very popular, you know? So it is like showing underrated decks, but you're not just showing me any underrated deck. You're showing me an underrated deck that is comparable for whatever reason, however you make those comparisons, but it's got to be comparable to a deck that is extremely popular and extremely mainstream. Okay? So I hope that clarifies everything, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. If you want to, you can stay.